Good evening. Good to have you with us in this edition of the Urban Debate. And the big focus tonight, one more time, is a scam, is a story that impacts lakhs of bank account holders and depositors, and yet no national news channel wants to give it the importance that it deserves. Mirror Now has been every single day bringing you all angles and all aspects of the PMC Bank Scam, because it is getting bigger and it is getting murkier, and we believe it is unfair that lakhs of depositors are actually having to pay for the faults of the bank management, for the fault of the Reserve Bank of India for not being able to keep a better scrutiny, for the fact that a builder got away with whatever he wanted to do, however he wanted to use your money parked in this bank, and so far no action has been taken. And so one more time we pick up this issue with explosive details now coming in, viewers, as the Economic Offences Wing carries out its investigation. Sources in EOW tell us that Waryam Singh, who was the PMC chairman till recently, he actually used to get slums vacated for the real estate company HDIL. By now, of course, you know HDIL is the company and the group that actually had taken a big loan that went bad. 70% of PMC loan was to this one company. So imagine this, a bank gives a large amount of loan to a builder that begins to lose its business, that actually begins to go bankrupt. The bank doesn't do anything. More importantly, the bank's chairman at one point of time used to work for this builder, vacate slums so that this builder could go ahead and make his projects. He then became the executive director of HDIL at one point of time while he was holding the position of the chairman of PMC Bank. Moreover, the PMC Bank headquarters is located in a mall that's owned by HDIL. Till date, PMC gives monthly rent to HDIL, same company that actually covers 70% of the loan for this bank. Rakesh and Sarang Vadhavan of HDIL are suspected to have laundered the money that they got, crores and crores of money from this bank. And we put up that data on the screen for you. Was allegedly used to buy properties in London. This is what is being investigated by EOW. Huge amount of money taken as loans were transferred into personal accounts of Rakesh and Sarang Vadhavan. The other angle, PMC Bank's former managing director Joy Thomas and of course the chairman are both untraceable now. The same bank MD who was holding news briefings till 2 days ago has now gone missing and EOW can't find. Lookout circulars have been issued for 17 people so far. Searches have been carried out at the residence and office of Joy Thomas, the former MD. According to the police, phone numbers belonging to Joy Thomas are untraceable. The man who was sitting on prime time addressing news briefings till just 2 days ago. Searches are also underway at the PMC Bank headquarters and the HDIL office in Mumbai. So I have only one question tonight. Who do I blame? Who do we blame? Who should be held accountable for the mess that we are in tonight? For the lakhs of depositors who are simply asking tonight, where is my money? Will I ever get my money back? Asif Amla, spokesperson for the BJP, joins us this evening. Govind Athiraj, senior journalist and founder for India's Pen, fact checker and Boom. Ravi Srivastava, political analyst, and Sanjay Ukhalkar, a depositor with PMC. Shantanu Sen, former joint director of CBI. And Mr. Sen is actually with us tonight because we want to understand when it comes to such economic crime, just what can be expected of our investigative agencies and how far can they really go to catch the culprits. But before I go across to Mr. Shantanu Sen, let me go across to Govind Athiraj. Govind, good evening. Good to have you with us on the show. It's very difficult to imagine how this has gone on for so long, Govind. One builder, one bank working together like a family. Builder treating this bank like his own piggy bank, taking money whenever he wanted, giving some money back whenever he wanted. And it actually went on for over a decade or two and nobody realized. How do we explain that?
I mean, you can and you cannot explain that, because cooperative banks are a weak link in the system. As a financial journalist, I've seen this happen time and again. There are cooperative banks which have gone under more than a decade ago and still are paying out their depositors. So that's a weak link in the system. I think the larger question is really, how do you anticipate something like this happening? How do you find out if something is happening below the radar that could potentially send up smoke signals, and then how do you respond? I think there are two gaps here. And this is something that I mentioned even earlier in the case of Punjab National Bank, that there seems to be a short flow of intelligence. I mean, there is not enough intelligence that's either being gathered or that's being sought after. I mean, if you look at the amount of effort the income tax puts in, the income tax department, also part of the Ministry of Finance, to get data on what people are spending, what people are buying, or what people are selling or earning, therefore, it's huge. I mean, you are delayed in payment by 5 lakh rupees 4 years ago, and the income tax department comes after you today. And here you have a situation where, as you said, something happens for a decade and no one knows. So one is the technology and the ability to spot transactions that happen between two parties or across parties, which and therefore help you understand that there's something off. It's a tough one. I'm not saying it's an easy one. The second is intelligence. You know, I mean, clearly this was a company, HDIL, which was in trouble and has been in trouble for some time, and there are others who are in similar trouble even as we speak, and even as we see their share prices dropping every other day. The question is, what are people trying to doing to find out whether there are transactions which connect them with depositors' money in banks, and what is being done about it? So I think technology, which is a tougher one, but intelligence, I think these are two failures that I would focus on for now.
Okay, you know, you said technology and intelligence. That needs to be obviously looked into. The fact is that you know it and I know it, that cooperative banks, it's been a mess for a while. Everybody has known about it. We just don't want to highlight it, talk about it and fix it. Ravi Srivastava, is there another problem here? Is there lack of intent to really address this issue versus, say, a mainstream bank or even NBFCs?
Tanvi, I was listening to my friend co-panelist Atharaj. He's talking about the intelligence, the technology failure and all that. But I'm sorry to say, and a very negative, very pessimist, the fact is it's a pure connivance. It's a pure connivance between the Reserve Bank of India, the bank management, the bank board, the builder HDIL, the government Ministry of Finance. Everybody knew was it happening. Everybody knew what is happening over here. The political party which is ruling, which has got the people on the board, the 12 directors have got the affiliation with the ruling political party. All those people, they knew it. All were knew that what is happening. All knew 73% of the loan book is with the HDIL only. And probably the DHFL is the next man to be caught in the whole web of this scam. I am finding it akin to the demonetization in November 2016. I am seeing heart-rending stories on social media where people 90-year-old, 80-year-old have lost their lifelong savings in it. They are not able to meet the nurse expense. They are not able to buy the medicines for themselves. They are not able to pay the maids in the house, household expenses. Such is a tragic situation, and there are people who withdrew 5% of the deposit within first 2 days of 18-19 September. And 29% of the deposits were withdrawn in the immediate past of this bank failure. How people knew it? Who knew it? Who did not know it? Everybody knew it. They knew it to the core. It's a pure connivance, and the people will try to protect the other person. You see the way this MD is now absconding, the way I have put up a tweet just 2 days before, confiscate the passports of all damn people involved in this particular scam. Don't allow them to leave the country. Put up a lookout notice on the airports and book them. Because my past experience.
We said it on our channel. We spoke about it. We spoke about it. We said it on our channel. For the last 1 week, we have been asking this question every single day. Why is there no FIR filed? Why have these people not been picked up? Why have they not been booked? How are they being allowed to still roam freely? The ex-MD was sitting and holding news briefings since 2 days ago, and today he's untraceable. I mean, are we fools sitting here just waiting for, the corrupt in the authorities, in the banks, these corporates to take away our money. And no lessons are learned ever. And they every single time get away. Mr. Asif Bamla, please explain to me, why did it take one long week to file an F.I.R. and now everybody seems to be untraceable?
You see, let's stick to the financial fraud issue rather than diverting the entire narrative of this whole fraud that has originally happened. It's of course a case of negligence, malified intentions, and a fraud has definitely happened. And of course, there's some connivance between the PMC Bank and the HDIL, because if we have a director like a Viram Singh who is part of the PMC and is a part of HDIL, then that means it talks lots. And I am also surprised as to how the RBI can give it an A-grade category to a bank like this. And a cooperative bank like the PMC it's supposed to be allocating funds for cooperative purposes, and it is given funds for a real estate arrangement, which is anyways under so much of sensitivity in the current times. And not only that, it is also given 75% of its net capital to HDIL, which is a bankrupt goddamn company. So certainly this is a very serious issue, and I'm sure my government here is taking it up very seriously. We filed FIRs. The EOW is going to take
Bamla,
it to
I
book.
appreciate you acknowledging that this is a serious issue, but frankly, I didn't need you to be telling us and our viewers tonight that this is a serious issue. It is. Which is why it is being debated on prime time here on Mirror Now, day after day after day. My question to you very simply is, Mr. Bamla, and I am not deviating when I ask you about the action or lack of action here. My question to you is, why was the state government, why was the state police, why was the state economic offences wing waiting for a week? Why have we waited for a year? In 2018, the Reserve Bank of India told the Registrar of Cooperative Societies to sack this chairman, to get rid of him because of the irregularities. What were we waiting for? This is my question to you. You are a representative of the BJP. Please answer me tonight.
You see, I am of the opinion that the financial fraud is worse than terrorism, and it has to be dealt with, and a special justice dispensation is the need of the hour to handle such crucial issues, which I am sure the government in place is certainly taking note of, and you will see in the days to come. And not a single person whose money has been stuck will go and wane, and I'm sure there is sufficient action plan the government will take. But let the government, I'm sure as a speaker of the Bharatiya Janata Party, I am sure there is a plan that is being worked out which will be unfolded soon.
No, Asif Bamla, there is no plan. Asif Bamla, there is no plan except perhaps a plan to give enough leeway to these people, to Wadwans to run away, to the MD, to the former chairman of this bank to run away, for the people who park their dirty money in this bank to run away with their money, for the people who could actually abuse and misuse the taxpayers' money, the honest account holders' money, to take this money and run away. That seems to be the only plan here. I'm sorry, but the state government is either in collusion or has been sleeping. Now you decide. Is the state government in collusion, or were you caught napping on this? That's the only question I'm asking tonight. There is no other explanation. It is ridiculous that the central government and Minister of State for Finance yesterday, Anurag Thakur, comes up and says, oh wow, this is an eye-opener. We don't need a government that tells us this is an eye-opener. Every day we have experts. Today, Govind said the same thing.
Tanvi,
everybody saw this coming when it came to cooperative banks, and nobody did anything. Tanvi, can I come in for Ravi Srivastava and Govind are coming to you just a bit. Yes, but I just want Sanjay Ukalkar first to make comments, because he's heard what BJP is saying right now. Sanjay Ukalkar is a depositor in PMC. Mr. Ukalkar, are you satisfied with what the government, what the authorities
No, I'm talking on behalf of the depositors, the customers of the PMC Bank. Whatever BJP representative is saying, it is absolutely not true. Till today, RBI, it is almost a week now. Till today, RBI has not come with any press release as to what is the status of the bank, how much funds are liquid available for distribution, how much funds are locked, and whether the customers are going to get some money, because this is a festive season, and they have got current account holders, saving bank holders, fixed deposit holders. The current account holders are unable to run their companies. They have to pay the GST, they have to pay to the suppliers, their working capital is locked. They don't have money to run day-to-day business. And similarly, the householders don't have money for daily needs. They have to pay the fees, EMI, and so many things. Similarly, the fixed deposit holders, some of the senior citizens are dependent on the fixed deposit interest, monthly interest they get.
Now, for your kind information, it is my party leader who has filed complaints against the wrong. If you know, Mr. Kirit Somaiya has filed the complaint and he's taken it up.
No,
not that my
filing
government-
complaint, filing, see.
What does that do? How does that help anybody?
No, filing
How
complaint
does that
doesn't
help
help.
anybody?
Mr. Bhamla,
Kirit
don't
Somaiya's
take the
complaint is
story.
not what the
No
EOW has
party
taken
did
up.
not do anything. He
No,
did
listen
not
to
Filing
me.
complaint,
It was a
SIT
falsehood
should.
complaint.
He's
Listen to
jumping
me.
on this
Your
now
government
after
has
everything
put
has
yes.
happened.
Your government
SIT
has
Ravi
SIT
Srivastava, Ravi
record
Srivastava, please.
Yeah.
Ravi
The
Srivastava.
SIT,
People
which
abroad.
is,
The
yeah,
problem
SIT,
with
which
you
is,
is that you, Mr. Srivastav,
Yeah,
you
have
don't
got-
want to
you have got
stick
a
on the
dubious
financial
record of
fraud
sending
issue. That's
people
the problem.
abroad. You got
You want to
Gentlemen,
divert the
too much yelling
attention
over
to
each
the
other. I'm going to
different-
request that everybody else gives enough courtesy to our panelists and listen to them.
These
The
people.
mind you-
Can I please just hear Ravi Srivastava right now? I don't want overlapping of voices,
We
please.
need to separate the issues.
And
Yes,
for
Ravi
any
Srivastava
goddamn
first.
thing You want
Tanvi-
to blame the government.
Yes,
Yeah,
correct.
Tanvi, I think we need to separate the issues.
Allow me, please. Please allow me.
Go ahead, Govind.
Please allow me. Mr. Bhamla, your government has got a very dubious record of making people run away with the public money. You have sent out Vijay Mallya, Mehul Chokshi, Nirav Modi, Sandesra, thousands, hundreds of crores scamsters have been sent abroad. And your Anurag Thakur is making a foolish comment over there that, wow, this is a learning. They are learning from these experiences. People are dying for this money. They are hard-earned deposits.
This government
Their
is-
blood and sweat has gone into it, and you are sitting tight on this. Now, government is not doing anything, Mr. Bhamla. I am sure of it.
this
I know it
government
very well.
is here
how
to
your
protect
government operates.
Mr.
I know it very
Srivastav,
well.
Mr. Srivastav, let me not remind
But
you
what
the
protection have
fraud
you
that has
done?
happened by Mr. P.
Mr.
Chidambaram.
Bhamla,
This
the
government is
corporates
here
are
to protect
falling
the
like a
interest
pack of
of
cards.
the investors.
The banks are closing.
This
Okay, I don't want to get
Government
into
is
this
here to
whataboutery. I don't want to get into this whataboutery. Let's please stick to the facts. I have one more set of information for our viewers, just to tell you how easily the rich and the powerful and the corrupt can take some money away, which is your money, and nobody is able to do anything. Just for our viewers' information, from this bank, 1902 crore as loan was given to Rakesh Wadhwan. 128 crore outstanding up till 31st March to Sarang Wadhwan. The HDIL promoters who have not yet been asked any questions, have not yet been picked up. There is a lookout circular. This is the reaction after such a mega scam has unfolded. For a week, no action has been taken. Govind, I'm sorry, you've been trying to make a point. Go ahead, please. I just wanted to put this information out there. Go ahead.
No, as a
Yeah,
customer.
no. I think we shouldn't we shouldn't confuse, not confuse. Sorry, I mean, I don't think we should we should correlate what has not happened in the last week with the systemic failure of the last 4 or 5 years. If there was something going wrong in the bank, if there was a certain nature of transactions or a trend of transactions with all that money going to one person, and remember, this is a fraud. I mean, the bank managing director himself has admitted that they falsified accounts, they showed dummy companies. So obviously it was not easy to catch even if someone was looking for it. So the question is, how do you prevent something like that from happening? Now, whether or not they failed to catch someone or no one has yet gone into jail as of this day, which is barely a week since the scam broke, I think is a separate issue from what has gone wrong systematically in the last few years. And I think we should focus on both, because if you don't focus on what systematically went wrong and how we can use technology and intelligence to prevent it in future, then it will happen again. And I believe you me, at this point of time, I just look at share prices. I mean, if you look at the number of companies whose share prices are crashing, particularly in the banking and finance space, this is, the market always knows something that maybe all of us either know or do not know or are failing to admit. And therefore, we should be responding to those signals today and rather than, getting completely lost in the fact that someone hasn't gone into jail. Of course, they should be caught and they should be thrown into jail, and they will. But let's focus on the systemic problem as well.
Yeah, I want to just
I'm not
add.
too sure if they will be thrown into jail, because if past cases and examples are anything to go by, it usually doesn't happen. They mostly end up in London. After they've bought properties there, they've sent their money there, they get out of the country, and then we wake up to the whole problem. And then we go about the extradition case. But I do take your point about the systemic problem, Govind, and I will come back to that, because I want to highlight to our viewers the number of times alarms were raised and ignored. Mr. Asif Amla, 1 minute please. I haven't got across to Shantanu Sen, former joint director of the CBI, also with us this evening. Mr. Sen, the initial investigation details that are emerging is they suspect that the money that was taken from this bank was then laundered. Properties were bought by the real estate builders and promoters overseas, and that money is already gone. We are now looking for these builders. It's not a new format. It's not a new modus operandi. Do our investigative authorities have the wherewithal and the freedom to actually go after such big fish and book them and bring them to justice?
Look, I can recall security scam of the 90s. I can earlier recall the security scams of Mundra. So this has been systematically going on. Now, in this particular case, for a decade and a half, this account has been, the nefarious activities in this account has been hidden by opening up 21,000 or more dummy accounts. My question here is, what was the board doing? What was the auditor doing? What were the RBI doing? What was the state government doing? When the cooperative banks have to be inspected by the state government and they have to be inspected by the RBI, have these inspections been done? In my experience, I have found out that the inspections are not carried out properly. In fact, I have seen in various investigations that the party which is supposed to come for inspection and do the inspection is treated lavishly, the staff is looked after, the inspection report draft is prepared by those who have to be inspected, and this body which comes for inspection doesn't even go into the details. In 2-3 days, he signs the inspection report and he's off. Now, here is a crime going on for 10 years or more. It is staring in the face. How does the board's inspection, how does the auditor's inspection, how does the state government's inspection fail to see? They are conniving. Now the effort, I can tell you what I can read it. The effort will be to save them. Therefore, those who have committed the crime will also be saved. What will happen is the depositors will suffer. And after some time, this will be forgotten. If you go back to the history of such deposits and their losses, all the time it is the depositor who suffers, because the agencies which are supposed to do their inspections and keep a check are feted, feasted, and they do not do their job. And nothing happens to them. How did the security scam of Harshad Mehta happen? Because right from the RBI top to the bank managing directors, they were involved. The CBI, after inspection, found them guilty. They were dealt with. But by that time, the money was lost. The money was gone. The inspection, sorry, let me finish.
Right.
The inspection,
Can I come in, please?
if it is done, this can be prevented. The investigation,
Let Mr. Sen finish, please.
can only find out the criminals, but the money is lost. So let us get after those who did not do their job, who are not a part of the bank, who are supposed to detect what has happened. That is the target now they should be made of.
Okay.
Repeatedly, they get away by not doing their job. They come, they are feasted, and they do not do their inspections correctly. If they had done so, this sort of a fraud
Okay,
which is
fair
going
enough.
on for a decade and a half could have been easily detected.
Tanvi,
Yeah,
Tanvi, can I come in, please?
I agree
Can-
with you.
can I- can
and
I say
here,
something?
here
Can I
are
make
the
a
two,
point?
two
I've got
things
2
that actually
points.
show this. There is an admission, there is a written statement by the ex-MD of this bank who says that when the statutory audits were done, they only looked at the fresh loans or the fresh advances. They never went into the details of what had happened earlier. So audits were being done, but they never realized what was actually going on, to the point that the bank actually managed to hide
Audit
the bad
report
loans,
is prepared by the
to
bank.
create dummy accounts,
Audit report is,
to put the
they
dummy
hide.
accounts on the balance sheet, and completely made a fool out of these auditors, or the auditors were either colluding as well and didn't care about what the truth was.
They were colluding,
Somebody
they
has to be
did
held
not do their
accountable.
work.
Secondly,
They were
the Reserve
feasted
Bank of
and-
India sent a recommendation
Tanvi,
to the Cooperative Society's registrar
Tanvi,
to get rid of this chairman a year ago. Nothing happened.
I want to
Ravi
say
Srivastava,
something.
go ahead, please.
Can I put 2 points? See, the
Tanvi,
SIT
Yes, I'm
was
coming
on.
to you
nobody
next.
is a
I'm
fool.
coming to you next.
Nobody is blind. Nobody is a child. Everybody is very smart. Everybody has made his share of money. Everybody has connived. Everybody has got his share from this particular scam. And I can tell you, I am a naysayer. The fact, nobody will get the money back. This scam will go on. But I compliment Mirror now for keeping it alive. Make sure that these people are booked and these people pay for their assets, their properties are seized. At least some example.
Well, you know,
you will see a
I know,
special
Ravi, the things
dispensation.
look
This is
extremely
poor
grim right now
depositors'
for the
money.
depositors.
You will see.
Yes, it looks extremely grim
You
right
will
now
see,
for the
you
depositors.
will
Mr.
very
Rukalkar wants to
soon
make a
see
point. In fact,
a
I have a couple of
special
other account
justice
holders on the phone line.
dispensation.
But first, Mr. Rukalkar, go ahead, please.
Tanvi, can I rebut to Mr.
Should give a
Srivastava?
time-bound report maybe within next 10 to 15 days. And another thing, whatever report may be placed to the High Court or any other authorities, the authorities should investigate. The High Court should interfere into the matter, and maybe the case should be daily monitored. Unless it is not daily monitored, the case may go along for years, as it has happened in other cooperative banks. The patient will be on the ventilator without any prognosis. The matter has to be heard daily, because it has got connection with the lives of the depositors, many lives, and their dependents also. It should not be taken lightly. Another thing, whether the RBI has got a
People
structure.
are ill in the hospital, fighting for their lives, Mr. Rukalkar, and you know it, and I know it. We've all spoken to these citizens. People are ill in the ICU right now, and they don't
Yes.
have money. Their families
Yes.
are running from pillar to post, trying to get some kind of relief on the withdrawal so that they can go ahead and pay their medical bills. People's businesses are stuck.
Yes.
They don't have the money to run their business anymore. They don't have the money to pay their suppliers anymore. How are they going to sustain their shop for the next few days? They don't know. Weddings have been planned.
And whether the
education
RBI
for
has
the children
got-
have been planned.
Yes, and
all of that money, lakhs of rupees stuck in this account. Tell me, Mr. Asif Bamla, you want to respond and rebut? Tell me tonight, is this money going to be given to the bank account holders or not?
Certainly,
And when?
certainly,
But when it
it's
will
an
be given,
eye-opener
there is
for
no
the
reply.
RBI. And I think, listen to me, please don't interrupt. Give people to
Yeah,
speak.
we want
okay?
answer for that question only.
Certainly, it's an eye opener. What am I doing here on the channel? Why am I here?
But
The
we have not
RBI
learned anything from
it's an
2015
open-
report.
It's an eye opener for the RBI, and
No.
you will see in days to come a special justice dispensation would happen.
Sir,
And it's not that. The
sir,
government has
at
started
least
attaching the
2,000
properties
banks are
of the
stand, there is
directors
no
and
eye-opener.
gentlemen, please
Please
don't
go to your
interrupt.
finance
Please
minister.
don't interrupt.
Let
Give me a fair chance to talk.
RBI
The government,
immediately-
Okay, let
the
Asif
government
Bamla
has
finish,
started
please.
to
Ravi
attach
Srivastava,
the
let him
properties.
finish, please.
Team for the bank.
We need to listen to
can
what
you
the
please
BJP
lower
has
his
to say
praise
on
up?
this.
Can you
I
please
want to
lower
listen
his
to what the
praise up?
BJP has to say on
We
this.
want
Can I
High
just
Court
listen to
monitored
Asif Bamla,
inquiry,
please?
immediate.
You see, you will see that the properties of the directors, etc., who are involved and the promoters would be attached very soon. The RBI has already appointed an administrator, and every rupee of the public would be reimbursed. I can assure you this now. And the economic offence wing has
it's never been done in any of the other instances.
A proper case out
Do you know
of
this is not the first cooperative bank where
case,
such restrictions have been imposed, Mr. Asif Bamla?
Tanvi,
Do you know that there are
will
other
protect
cooperative
the
banks in
interest-
our country,
it will
in the
protect
state
the
of
interest of the
Maharashtra,
investors.
the same state as this issue, where restrictions on cooperative banks have gone on for years together? Just yesterday, RBI extended restrictions on two of these cooperative banks, and those have gone on for 5 long years. I don't want to be the person telling this to the bank accountants of PMC, but it's not just a matter of 6 months. There are examples of cooperative banks where restrictions have now gone on for 5 long years. Money has never come back to the depositors. One can only hope this time the situation will be different. Ram is on the phone line, calling us from Pune. I'm told he's also a PMC account holder. Good evening, Ram. Go ahead, please. Is there a specific question or an experience you want to share with us?
I would just like to share it with the panel. A few days back, I had spoken to the RBI person to find out which is the safest bank in India. You know what the answer was? Even we are not safe. This was the answer given by RBI. So please, you look out for yourself which is a better bank. This is one. Second thing, about the notice. We are talking about 1,000 rupees being given, 10,000 rupees being given. Has any of the panel members gone through the notices, the 3-page notice sent by RBI to PMC Bank? Forget about the previous one. Point number 2 states very clearly, all those people who are interested in appropriating their deposits to loan account, please come forward. Trust me, your RBI administrator and bank is sitting on many applications. Not a single application has been cleared. Imagine, we are talking what? Today you have somebody in different political parties sitting now in new party. Frankly speaking, I am shocked that BJP is loaded with all those people who have bank scams. I can name them, but this is not the right place to name them. Mirror knows it very well who are the people. I need not even talk about it. So the least we get any advice from political party, the better we avoid it. And then we are talking of insurance, 1 lakh insurance for people with 20 lakhs loan. Is it a joke? They put in their PF money, they have put in their retirement benefits money, and they say you go to this insurance, you'll get 1 lakh at least. What a shame. I mean, this is how things are running. Few days back, your MD says, don't worry, your money is safe, wonderful, we will take care of it, we will get everything. Today, suddenly he comes out by saying, this man has got 21,000 old, rubbish accounts. I mean, what's going on? What does this depositor
Mr. Ram, you know, the same MD has actually written a statement, Mr. Ram, in his admission statement to the Reserve Bank of India that he still believes HDIL will give the money back. HDIL, a company that has gone bankrupt a long time ago, whose all of the projects in Mumbai, a dozen of them are actually stuck, not going anywhere. They have no money. And this bank MD, or former MD, has the audacity to say that I believe they will give the money back. Has the audacity to say, oh, we let them take this much money and often take these advances because HDIL promoters came to our rescue in 1986. When this bank wanted money, they came and gave us money. So he's justifying this family personal behavior that's been happening for 10, 15 years, which led to this entire scam. I've got another caller on the phone line, Rajiv Mangla on the phone line from Faridabad. Good evening, go ahead please.
Hello. Hi, Tanvi.
Yes, Rajiv, good evening, go ahead please.
Yeah, I have 2-3 points to say. My sense is it is not a fraud of 7 or 8,000 crores only. It has created a trust deficit between the people and the banking system. Just believe it, today everybody is talking about where should we keep our money. So that's a big hit as far as economy is concerned. My second point is bank has done so many violations. Bank is reporting weekly basis, monthly basis, quarterly basis to RBI since a long time. Is not RBI was never able to figure out the problems? They were never able to identify the problems. Why don't we make RBI responsible for this?
That is their
You
job.
see, we have given all the rights to RBI, but without any accountability. Rather, we should make Minister of Finance responsible.
Rogue.
We are just talking about board and HDIL and auditor. Why don't we talk about RBI, which is the supreme authority in the country? They should be held responsible.
No, fair enough. I completely take your point, Rajiv Mangla. Yes, the accountability shouldn't just stop with the corrupt management of this bank and the builder who is now unable to pay this money and allegedly has also siphoned off some to buy properties abroad. That's under investigation, but there has to be accountability of the investigative agencies or regulating agencies rather, whose job is to scrutinize and ensure scams don't happen, Govind. And the same conversations happened when the Punjab National Bank scam unfolded. The same conversations have often happened even for NBFCs, even for cooperative banks. It's not a new thing. Why have we repeatedly then failed to implement any change?
No, I think it goes back to knowing what's really going on around you. And I use the word intelligence very carefully. I think it's about knowing, as any smart regulator would, what lies beyond the numbers that you see on the books that are presented to you. So someone may be presenting, forget weekly, quarterly and annually, but they may be presenting books of accounts every day. But if it's falsified and essentially a con job, then there's no way you would know better. So obviously you have to have a feel of what's going on. I mean, if there is a stress in the real estate sector, surely you should be looking twice at the books of real estate companies, trying to understand why are stock prices falling. Is there some connection between the falling stock prices and the fact that there could be something hidden and something hidden wrong in their balance sheets? And therefore, who are the people who've lent to them? Who are the people they've taken money from? So you've got to connect all these dots. I mean, that's intelligence. And that's what, when you have smart regulators, that's what they do. And that's what they should have been doing a few years ago. I mean, today about whether someone goes into jail tonight or should have gone last night is a completely, I mean, it's a different issue. And that's purely law and order and law and order response. And my question is really far more fundamental. And like I said, I mean, even as we speak, there are implosions happening all around us in the financial sector, and we should be alert, and if not more alert, in the way that I just spoke about earlier, to ensure that more public money doesn't go under.
Yes, and I believe in the signals that we are looking at right now, perhaps maybe too late to respond and do any damage control, but there has to be some lesson learned here as we brace ourselves for a larger impact that may be coming our way in the next few days. Mr. Sen, go ahead please, and then to Ravi Srivastava. Shantanu Sen first.
I have a doubt.
You're doing us a favor. If
Shantanu Sen first.
Through this, warn the regulators.
Yes.
Take a lesson. Regulators should take a lesson. Let us throw them into the jails.
No, 2015 they have already taken a lesson.
The future regulators will carry their job well. The regulators, as they rightly said by Mr. Ethraj, regulators, the inspectors have not been doing their job. Had they done this, this would not have happened. So it is time that action is taken against them straight away. Do not wait for the end of the inquiry. You have done an excellent job to bring this to focus. Time to get after the inspectors, the auditors and the regulators. That is very important.
No, but
otherwise, again and again, these things will happen and you will go after those who manage the bank and they will run away. Nothing will happen.
Tanvi, I have a doubt. As a depositor, I have a doubt whether the RBI has got the structure to monitor the
Mr. Ukalkar has a doubt as a depositor. We can highlight that doubt. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I have a doubt as a depositor whether there is a structure in the RBI which can properly govern the cooperative banks. Otherwise, the cooperative banks model doesn't work. They have to be closed. And in case if any other bank goes into the liquidation,
it doesn't. I mean, you have a dual governing structure.
Yeah. No, even in case if there is any bank in near future goes into the liquidation or any similar problem, the depositors will not keep money in the cooperative bank. And cooperative banks are the backbone of the economy. There will be a major crisis. The government has to look seriously into this issue.
Tanvi, I just want to add,
Okay, last comment from Ravi Srivastava before we wrap this up. I have two more big stories to address, but Ravi Srivastava.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Just I want to add what Mr. Ethraj was saying. There is one Ambani company whose shares are being sold for 25 paisa and 2 rupees. And he says that he is going to pay 60,000 crores to the bank. You only wait how many banks are going to sink in the next 2-3 months. Just watch it. I am saying that the government has got no control anywhere. Things are just falling apart. Corporates are closing. Banks are closing. It is a pitiable situation, and the government is not tightening their belt. They are still living into that. It's a learning experience. We are learning from this.
It's an eye-opener. Their eyes are still opening right now. I don't know at what point will they start to take
2015
action
is the
and
case,
fix the
Madhapura
problem
Bank.
that is at hand. And I think enough of our experts have repeatedly highlighted that there are enough and more warning signals all around us. Things could be worse. This may just be one of those instances. But lakhs of depositors tonight, viewers, are still wondering whether their money will come back. It could have been any of us. And our money parked in safe, that we thought was safely parked in a bank. There has to be accountability. And maybe this time, the depositors will not keep quiet. Maybe this time, the bank account holders, citizens, people who save their hard-earned money and put it in the bank will not stay quiet, come out and demand accountability, not just from the bank, but from the government and the Reserve Bank of India. I'm going to thank all of our panelists for joining us on that big debate. Let's move on to the big story number 2 at 9 p.m. And the Supreme Court grants Centre 4 weeks' time to file its reply on the various petitions challenging the abrogation of Article 370 in Jammu and Kashmir. The court has actually now fixed the matter for further hearing only on November 14th. Attorney General K.K. Venugopal sought time to file the government's reply to a batch of petitions, and we've been telling you about this and constantly tracking this. A batch of different petitions challenging abrogation of Article 370 have been filed. All of those are being heard by the court. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court declined any stay of presidential notification on Article 370 in the interim, observing that it can turn back the clock if top court decides in petitioners' favor. After the 5-judge Constitution bench granted 4 weeks' time to the central government to respond on this issue, a 3-judge bench headed by Justice Ramanna also considered other ancillary issues pertaining to 370 abrogation, like personal liberty, like media restrictions and other related aspects. And here is the interesting point. Here is what the government believes and the government has told the court. Solicitor General Tushar Mehta told Supreme Court that the country will be flooded with fake news from across the border if mobile networks are allowed to function. Justice Gawai of the Supreme Court observed that national security interests have to be balanced too. But at one point, Solicitor General went on to say and question the people. Where were those people who are raising questions today? Where were they when terrorism and militancy was peaking? Kashmir had shut down with 3 months of complete internet shutdown last year and before that. Why were these questions not raised then? That's what the centre has submitted to the Supreme Court. Continue to track this big case hearing for you.
Joining us, former judge of the High Court and also leader of National Conference, Mr. Hasnain Masoodi, to talk about the developments here in the Supreme Court. Sir, are you satisfied with the outcome of the proceedings today?
See, I mean, Supreme Court had to give an opportunity to the other side to file its counter and respond to. Though we were expecting a shorter date, I mean, because having regard to the nature of the proceedings and the issues involved, we would always welcome I mean, a decision with due dispatch at an earliest. लेकिन सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने मुनासिब समझा कि उनको इतना मौका देने का 4 हफ्ते का मौका देना था. ये तो इस सारी अदालत की प्रक्रिया का ये तो हिस्सा होता है.
I think naturally they should be fed up. There is a functioning High Court there. By not going there, you are only adding to the mythology and the lies and the false propaganda that no courts are open, no schools are open, so on. So therefore, I think the court must now lay down such a strict, give such a strict judgment that Never again anybody will come up with this now obsolete Article 370.